Hi, so till now we have talked about object initialization using constructors, and we have seen how to construct a parameterized constructor. And we also talked about the concept of constructor overloading. That means overloading basically means multiple functions with the same name. So when we are defining multiple constructors, that is also a kind of a function overloading, and this function overloading is known as constructor overloading. So in this lecture, we will talk about one more type of constructor, which is known as copy constructor. And what does this constructor going to do? It is going to create a copy of a given object. Okay, so that means we can initialize one more object by sending the current object, and this object can be created. Okay, so let me show you in the form of code. So if I have, let's say, a camera, and I want to create one more product which is again a camera, and maybe I want to initialize it using my first camera. Okay, maybe let me just call it as second camera. Okay, or maybe a webcam. Okay, and I want to initialize it using my camera object. So what I can do, I can say, okay, take in this object and construct a webcam. So if I say, okay, camera dot okay, so maybe what we can do, we can make one more function to show the details of that camera. Okay, so I have a function show details that is going to display all the details of the camera. So I'm going to call this method, so show details for camera, and maybe webcam dot show details, and I'm going to show the details of this one as well. Now if I run this code, you can see okay, let us run this code again. So this is a warning, it can be ignored. Now you can see we are getting the output two times. So this is for camera 1, and the second one is for camera 2. And what we can see is all the properties of camera 1 are copied in camera 2. Okay, so it has a ID 101, it also has a ID 101. It has a name GoPro, it also has a name GoPro. Okay, and it has a similar price as well. So now what we are going to do, we are going to see how this copy was made. Okay, this copy is made using a special constructor which is present by default, and this is known as copy constructor. Okay, so if I write the code for the copy constructor, it would look something like this. So we are going to have a product, and we are going to pass in an object. So that object will be of the type product, and maybe I can say there is some product X for which I'm going to make a copy. Now building this code is going to throw an error that it says copy constructor must pass its first argument by reference. So we need to understand why it is saying that this argument must be passed by reference. Okay, so when you do something like this, int, let's say, x equal to 10, and you do int y equal to x, so what you're doing, you are actually making a copy of x in y. Okay, so similarly, when we are going to pass in an object to a function, maybe you have function that takes some integer x, and maybe in the main you have some int y equal to 10, and you call this function with the value of y. So doing this passing, you are making x as a copy of y. Okay, so you are actually creating a copy that is initialized with the value y. So this copy is created only if the copy constructor exists. So what we are doing here, we are actually making a copy constructor. Okay, and we are saying this copy constructor is asking for a copy which should be created by a copy constructor. So that means that copy cannot be created. Okay, so that means instead of passing this x by value, pass by value means pass by making a copy, so we actually have to pass it by reference. So if I just add this and here, that means we are not making a copy. This x is going to be our camera 1 object, and we are not making a copy out of it. Then this function is going to work. So if I build the code now, and if I now run it, let me show you. Okay, now if you carefully look at the second one, what you can see, the name is null. Okay, so this is camera 2, and this is camera 1. Let us see this one, what we are printing. So okay, this is not needed actually. So what we are doing, let us run this code again. So yes, this is camera 1 and this is camera 2. Now what is happening, earlier the default copy constructor was doing some work, but now we have overwritten the copy constructor. We said okay, we will define our own copy constructor, and the body of that copy constructor is going to be empty. So it is empty. That means no values were copied. Okay, so name is null, id is garbage, selling price is garbage, mrp is garbage. So this is nothing but a garbage value. Okay, so that means we actually have to write the logic to do the copy. Okay, if we don't do it, then the by default copy constructor does it, but since we have overwritten the default copy constructor, now it is expecting that we will provide the code to create the copy here. Okay, so we have to write the code to create the copy. So what we can do, we can simply say let us copy the id of x in the current id. So I can say id equals to x dot id. I can say name equals to x dot name. I can say mrp equals to x dot mrp. I can say selling price equals to x dot selling price. Okay, so now if I build this code, all right, so there is one problem with the array. This data member is an array, and I will tell you how we should handle it. But let us skip the name variable as of now, and let me run the code. And you can see that all the properties of the first array are now copied in all the properties of the second array. Okay, so all of them are copied as it is. Okay, so we have not copied the name as of now. There is a concept behind it. I will teach you something in the next lecture, but I hope you are understanding the concept of a copy constructor. Okay, so this is one way of making the call, and there is another way. I will tell you. So this is one way in which you can call the copy constructor. Okay, and maybe there is a product handycam which is equal to camera. So in this case also, what is going to happen, we are going to call the copy constructor. Okay, so this also makes a call to the copy constructor, and I can say handycam dot show details. So you can see we are getting okay, let me just see. This should be handle. So camera dot show details, webcam dot show details, and handycam dot show details. All right. Yes, so the build was old. So now if I see, I'm getting camera 1, I'm getting camera 2, and I'm getting camera 3. Okay, and suppose if I just do it without defining my own copy constructor, I will also get the name. So let us do it without defining the copy constructor. Now you can see all of them have the same name, they have the same details, and yes, so that means both the copy constructors are working fine. But now the question is, if the default copy constructor is working, why do we need to define the copy constructor? Okay, so we'll try to answer this why in the next lecture, and there is a concept of shallow copy and deep copy behind it.